Welcome to Relational Lives again. Today we are going to be discussing something that all of you will probably relate to, which is conflict styles. And we'll be explaining the three main styles of conflict so that you can start to recognise what yours is. Please do like, subscribe and follow us. It really does help get the word out that we're here. And stay tuned for the takeaway tips at the end. So, conflict patterns.
Yes.
What do you know about this?
What do I know about conflict patterns in my own experience?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, because I'm nearly heading for almost, what is it? I think it's 28th wedding anniversary this year.
Is it?
I think it is. Oh dear. I should know that straight away, shouldn't I? Yes, I think it's 28 this year. And so I think that my...
Oh, you don't look old enough. Sorry, that was a bit delayed.
Thanks, Ali. You know, I was really waiting for it. My conflict patterns, I think, have changed. There might be a thread of what was there before, but actually, I think over that time it's changed. I think there would have been more conflictual stuff going on, I think, more years ago. I think we've found more of a rhythm now and more of an understanding so that when there is discourse between us, we deal with it differently. And I'm hoping that today, actually, we'll be able to perhaps help with finding different ways of dealing with conflict, because it can happen in all sorts of ways. What about you?
Well, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? Mm-hmm. How I tend to... not speak about what I'm feeling, or not really feel it either. I can numb out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll talk about that as well, how that comes in.
And also how we notice that when you do that I can end up feeling really pissed off on your behalf.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate it, because then I don't have to feel it. No, but you do, don't you? You can get quite angry for me.
I do.
When things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's move into it then, because we're going to discuss different conflict patterns. There are common conflict patterns, aren't there? That pretty much everyone is going to probably notice something of their experience in this.
Yeah, absolutely, because there are slightly different variations, aren't there? And we're kind of basing this around, there's a book called Hold Me Tight by somebody called Sue Johnson, who is a founder of emotionally focused therapy. So we're taking some of this from that.
Yeah, yeah. So
the first kind of main pattern is the sort of blame, isn't it, in a cycle? And incidentally, last week we talked about the negative cycle, and so this is kind of leading on from there. Yeah. So the blame, what does that look like?
How does that look? That looks quite explosive sometimes, doesn't it? It can be quite loud, it can be quite angry looking, but it's effectively where each of the couple are fighting their corner. They're trying to explain or blame the other, point the finger. You did it wrong. If you did this better,
yeah, and then it's kind of like, no, you did it. It's your fault. No, if you hadn't have done that, if you hadn't said that to me, it can kind of be a real ping pong, can't it, back and forward.
Yeah, I think also sometimes it can be slightly different in that it can sound more like someone trying to explain their fact is the right fact. You know, well, this is how I saw it. When this happened, you did this, and that's why I felt this, and this is the right way this is my experience, this is the fact. You need to come over to my side and see this is the fact.
And so then what happens, do you think, in that instance with the other person receiving that?
Well, then they go into, no, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a kind of pushback, isn't there? You're right, though. It can kind of happen in a sort of slightly different way, can't it?
So it can be very finger pointy. Like, you did this. Why aren't you doing this? Get it right.
No, you did back.
Yeah. Or it can be, do you remember when we went to the shop and you didn't look at me when when that shopkeeper was being nasty to me, and you just didn't look at me. You didn't take any notice of me. And that was really rude.
So there's going to be criticism in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And so there's going to be a kind of, I imagine, a pretty defensive response back. No, I didn't. It wasn't that I was doing that. I was doing this. I was actually just getting the thing that you wanted down the aisle.
No, you weren't. You weren't. You were looking at over there at something else.
No, I wasn't. I told you I wasn't. I wasn't doing that at all. So it can go back and forth, can't it? And we don't get anywhere with that.
But what's the purpose, do you think? What the purpose of someone trying to get the other person to see that their experience of the facts is the right one?
I think it all comes from the feeling of disconnection. I think it comes from the feeling of not feeling like your relationship is working in a way, that you're feeling close and cared for. And we've talked before about the available, responsive, engaged. There is none of that going on. And so I think that there is a form of fighting for the relationship, but in a way that becomes very unhealthy and unhelpful.
Like that fight response in the body's alarm system.
Yeah. And I think it happens so quickly, doesn't it, that actually we often talk, don't we, about, well, what's going on inside the body. And I think it's very difficult in that moment to notice what's happening in the body because the defence and protection of what's going on is so quick. But, we don't even stop and think, oh, my God, what I'm feeling
because
inside.
you're in your threat system, so you're not really thinking clearly or
and sometimes
logically.
That's talked about, that sort of yellow brain, isn't it? And it's like that sort of activated fight-flight brain rather than being in this nice green kind of engaged, darling, tell me, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to look at, help you out didn't have your back when you were talking to that horrible shopkeeper. There's none of that green brain available, is there?
No, it's not online, completely offline, in fact.
Yeah, because the threat is there that there is some kind of rupture in the relationship, some kind of lack of closeness and connection.
So both end up in that fight response, fighting for that connection and fighting for the other one to come onto their side and for them to be together on it.
Yeah.
But really not getting where they want to get to.
Yeah, like you say, sort of come over to my side. No, you come over to mine. No, come over to mine.
Yeah, come see it this way. Come on, this is right.
Yeah. And so around right and wrong.
I'm right, you're
I'm
wrong.
right, yeah. No, it's the other way around, actually. Yeah. So that can often lead in some respects to the next kind of pattern, can't it? Which is where there is what we would call the sort of pursual or the approaching and the more withdrawal. And we've talked about this again. It's worth looking back at attachment styles and also last week's one on the cycle. So this is a slightly different pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, so it can move from blame, attack, to this slightly different one, which is more attack, withdrawal. Yeah. So someone starts to pull back. Yeah.
So perhaps can you say a bit more about that? Like how's this one going to look like?
Well, I guess eventually that someone's going to burn out of that attack cycle, aren't they? Someone's going to think, oh, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
I need to calm it down.
Yeah.
And then perhaps say, chill out, I can't do this anymore. And perhaps walk away. Or just not be a part of that fight anymore.
Yeah. I think this sometimes can look like the person who is withdrawing might be physically present, but it's almost like there is no expression going on the outside.
Reminds me of that still face.
Yeah,
again.
exactly. Yeah. I was thinking the same. There was an experiment years ago by somebody called Ed Tronick where they did this experiment called still face, and it was it was a toddler, wasn't it, or an infant, and their mum.
Yeah, one or something.
Yeah, anyway, it was looking at attachment, and again, look at a previous episode and you will find out about attachment. But yes, this still kind of face where there's no expression on the outside, but in fact, probably loads and loads and loads. Well, we know, don't we? There's loads going on the inside, even if that's not connected to.
Yeah. Even if they don't know that that's going on the inside, it's still somehow there, but just not.
And how that then impacts the other person, how that either withdrawal in whatever way they're either exiting or no response can really impact the other person, can't it? And if we're looking at the cycle again, that's what they see on the outside, and then on the inside of the other, the person who's kind of maybe more critical or that.
Well, it can further fuel that feeling of I need to attack, I need to get a response.
Yeah. What do you think's going on inside the body of that person?
Don't know, you tell me, because I'm not very good at that.
But what do you think? Have a hunch. What do you think is going on?
Oh, well, what I hear from, when I'm experiencing it with my clients is that a real kind of energy, a build-up of energy, a build-up of I need to get this out, I need to tell you, I need to express this to you.
Yeah. And I'm certainly more that. That's why I suppose in some ways when we were saying about what happens when you're, going through something and you shut down a little bit more, and I'm thinking, oh, for goodness sake, in fact, that's being really polite. I wouldn't necessarily say that. FFS comes out a lot, and I will be feeling it inside for you, because that's what would happen for me as well. If I were in that kind of situation, I couldn't not say something.
Yeah, I hear that from a lot of people. It's like when that feeling is there, it's not, it has to come out.
Yeah. And it's a real feeling inside where, like you say, it is this feeling, a sort of boiling up inside. And there's underneath that awareness that there is disconnection of sorts. You're feeling the disconnection. And so you're trying everything that you can to get it back. So even if that's in a critical way or in a, very sort of in words that you wouldn't want to use, saying maybe sometimes unkind things.
And actually, sometimes I've heard from people that those unkind things can get really, I see it, they can get really nasty words, hurtful things, but then it brings something out of that previously shut down person, because it's what kind of really hurts, and it brings them forward again. So there's some response is better than no response. Yeah. It's like children, isn't it? They will play up to get that. Any attention is better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And even if that's negative. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think if you think of then what comes out, if you have this sort of feeling of disconnection inside, it's sort of boiling inside you have to say to kind of protect yourself. And we all often talk about defensive behaviour, don't we? But in fact, this top part of the cycle, it's very much around protection, isn't it? It's like protecting ourselves and what we're feeling that we're being accused of about ourselves, but also the relationship and how that has been, there's that rupture, that sort of disconnection.
Yeah, like a protection as though you're getting the weapons out and I'm fighting.
Yes,
I'm getting the knives out, the guns out, the words out. Everything comes out as a way of protecting from disconnect or hurt.
And I think again, sometimes I think you'd probably agree, Ali, that sometimes even if this is in this pattern, it doesn't necessarily have to be very loud and escalated in lots of sort of rowing. It can sometimes be quite snippy, I think, and quiet, and or it might be that my close down in the past I don't think would have been closed down like you. It would have been more sort of sulky.
Oh, would it?
Or like feeling wounded. And not just wounded on my own and licking my wounds, but wounded and you've wounded me. Yeah. So there's still an energy there.
Yeah.
Like, come and see what you've done. Come back to me. There's still a form of like, come back, not
it's really
leave me alone.
interesting, the differences, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas mine would be so shut down from the feelings that I get to the point where I don't care.
Yeah.
Which isn't great. It's not great.
No.
Because I don't want to not care.
Absolutely.
But there's something about that protection in my...
So that you don't even get to feel it in a way. The protection comes in, so quickly that you don't feel it?
I think I do feel it, but not nearly as much as what other people can, as you're describing it. Not nearly as much as that. And that it's almost as though subconsciously I end up pushing it down until it almost feels like it just melts away, but it still matters.
And I guess
but there isn't that feeling inside.
Yeah.
There isn't that energy in me. I have to blurt this out. I have to say something.
So what do you think that then leads to? The fact that you don't say, like I would, like FFS or whatever, if I don't say something back, what do you think happens for you that's different?
I would probably end up more, if it went on, more depressed.
Okay.
More hopeless. Like really quite...
That sounds horrible.
It's not great.
No.
Neither is that great. But I think it's preferable that there's something there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a fight for it.
Yes, exactly that. I think there's that energy, isn't there? Although for the person who's more of the withdrawer in the mix of this pattern and this dance, which is often called a dance, isn't it? Is that it can be very hard to be on the receiving end of me, if you like, the way that I could be. So if I'm being like, you weren't there and you weren't listening to me or whatever else, whatever it might be. And I think when we get into those stages, we can sometimes say, you never do this, you always do that. And these really sort of very blanket statements. And it can feel so unfair and difficult, I think, receiving that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, well, I guess you could apply that to if we were in a row. We've never had a big row, but that I would probably be more a withdrawer then, wouldn't I?
Yeah,
you would.
And that would really piss me off.
Well, it does anyway without.
Well, it does on your behalf. In your relationship. So I think it would be the same if.
But I would probably be more. Yeah, I'd probably be more shut down about it. And if there was an energy coming at me, I'd want to pull away, withdraw, move away from it.
Yeah.
So that's probably how it would play out if we were.
And then if you think about what, so it's not hard, it's not nice for you. And so I was sort of saying that kind of feeling of kind of coming back, like kind of fighting, like you say, fighting for the relationship. And then what do you think that withdrawal impact would have on me?
Well, you've told me. You'd get angry.
Well, yes.
For me.
But what do you think goes on inside?
Well, for you, for the attacker in that, if we talk about attack, withdrawal cycle, the more that I'm going to withdraw, the more that you're going to feel that you need to fight, because you're sensing the disconnect. You're sensing that still face. You're sensing they're gone.
Yeah. And I'm going to feel more on my own.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very common feeling inside that sort of pursual, energy and response, that you end up thinking in the relationship, like, where are you? Where are you? I keep coming at you to say, come here. I know the way I'm doing it isn't great, or I don't necessarily know the way I'm doing it isn't great. This is what we're hoping you will know more and we're thinking about. But actually, that's what it would activate in me. It's like, you've gone.
Yeah, it's the you've gone, but it's also that feeling, isn't it, inside of,
so therefore, that's what would then bring back,
the fight.
The fight. Yeah.
And the more you fight for it, the more you get louder or more critical or more finger pointy. The more you withdraw. I would go, I can't be dealing with this.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Why is this such a big deal?
And I think sometimes that can also be from people, you're just far too emotional. That's what might be coming back. You're too oversensitive. I'm not doing those things that you say. You're always telling me I'm getting things wrong.
What about this, and this that I did?
Yeah.
You've forgotten about that.
Yeah. It's like I do 10 things, 9 of which are the right ones, but it's always that 10th one that you pick on. And that's hard, isn't it? Because what's going on for that person who's they're kind of defending and fighting in their way, aren't they?
Because they wanted to be seen and recognised just as we all are, and appreciated and valued, and feeling, I can't get it right.
I can't get it right.
So this is the attack, withdraw cycle that is a very common one. Very common one.
The most
probably
common.
the most common one, and the most
Yeah.
common one we certainly see in couples therapy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really helpful to start recognising this, isn't it? And we're kind of aware because obviously we're kind of trained in it and done years of our own experiences of this and understanding. But it can be really hard to recognise when it's happening. And I think this is where we hope that, this obviously will help people, but also that thing where we say, sort of tuning into what's going on inside, sort of slowing things down, pausing, slowing things down to see what's inside. But I think when it's happening, we don't do any of that because we're so caught up in it.
You're so in it, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's so understandable.
I was just thinking about how this can play out in with messaging as well. Not necessarily in person, text messages and things. That can play out that way as well. You're messaging all these things and you're saying, blaming by text and criticising, why aren't you here?
Has that happened for you?
No, but I know it does happen. People can get into these same dynamics by WhatsApp messaging or text messaging. And then the other, it's very easy to withdraw, isn't it, by messaging. You just don't reply.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can sometimes start, can't it, also outside of that? It can sometimes start in person and then it's kind of carried on because the day will have to carry on. And I think that's also really hard, is that if, it's been a really stressful morning, I know people getting the kids ready for school and, all this sort of pressure, work, there can be also then a competition of who's doing what and who's done the most and who needs more time for them and what support or not support they're getting. This sort of whirlwind of those mornings and then getting out the door still with this kind of really tense, horrible environment. The cycle has already taken off, let alone what's happened to the dishwasher in the mix with all that. and then you're kind of left with that. And I think that's maybe where it can kind of potentially carry on. In
that energy might still be there. And I've got to get it out.
And you've got to wait, and then, no response or whatever. But then, you've got to come back in at the end of the day. And it's potentially still going to carry on, or it's still there. And
why didn't you message back?
Yeah.
Send you all these messages. Well, I've been in meetings.
Yeah. So it's horrible, really, isn't it? And so much of, this is kind of really normal. I think it's really important to remember that with cycles, they will still happen. They still happen for me. They just happen sort of maybe less often. And also I'm able to perhaps do more about it now because I have more understanding of the way things work, as does my husband. But we will all still have them. But the key is being able to sort of recognise them. And we'll say a bit more about that, won't we? And doing the repair afterwards. So coming back from wherever, work at the end of the day, having picked up the kids and whatever else, it's like, when's the time then to do it? And then there's getting everybody fed or whatever it might be. There are all these things that add on that are so difficult then in reality, aren't they? To, they're knackered. And you've got to like this tension that's never been really sorted out through the day.
Yeah. So the first step really is to being able to recognise these patterns, isn't it?
Yeah.
The third one we haven't spoken about yet
let's do that.
The withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
So this can look like a very silent cycle, as if nothing's happening. If you were to watch it from the outside, you might sense there's a tension, but you wouldn't pick up necessarily that there's conflict going on, would you?
No, because I think there would be a sort of functioning. There would kind of, people would just be doing their own thing, but that actually there wouldn't really feel as if there is a meaningful connection going on. No,
and this is probably I think there's something written about this. This is probably the most, what's the word? Dangerous cycle of them all in a relationship, because there's no glue, there's no connection, there's nobody fighting for anything.
No,
and that's a dangerous place for a relationship to be, isn't it?
Yeah, that's such a good point, because it is the distinction, isn't it, that in the other two patterns, there is fight for the relationship, even if it's not really in the way that's going to be helpful. But in this one, where is the fight?
Yeah, the energy is just
flat.
really flat. And people often say, I think there was a question asked of us, wasn't there? Is it, we don't argue in our relationship, is that okay? People often feel really proud that they don't argue.
Yeah.
And that's a really good thing, that we never argue. But actually, it's not necessarily.
No. I mean, I have to say I don't argue that much anymore. But, I have the capacity to. But it'll happen in different ways. It's not like I've become like disillusioned with my marriage and I'm kind of like, no, I'm checking out. And my husband's checking out. There's not that energy at all. It's just that we don't have such conflict anymore.
You've argued them all out.
28 years of it. No, but it just doesn't happen in that way so much. But that withdrawal, I think is like you say, it's an interesting word to use, dangerous, because what's next?
Where do you go with that?
And this is difficult because it might not just be, because one of the ways, isn't it, we were saying that comes to this is where potentially with the previous pattern of attack and withdrawal, that it can be that the attacker gets so fed up.
Yeah.
And they think they've tried to communicate for so many years and whatever, that then they've ended up thinking, well, I can't do it anymore. So they've withdrawn. And it's kind of called burnt out, isn't it? It's a burnt out person who's tried. But sometimes I guess it also comes from experiences of upbringing. And
yeah. Could come from various places, couldn't it? So we talked about the different attachment styles, and with the avoidant attachment particularly, where there isn't that connection very easily with the emotional world inside. And so that's an easy place to kind of just be quiet. You don't feel it, so you don't express it.
No.
But also sometimes, you may have grown up in an environment where you haven't learned to speak up. You haven't been able to have a voice. And so even with that feeling of something's not right, I need to talk about it, there comes this voice that says, no, you mustn't talk about it, because it's not going to get you anywhere, so don't bother. Or you'll be too much, so just keep quiet. And that inner learning of, I just need to shut up and accept this.
And in those experiences, I think what can happen is that even though that's what it looks like on the outside, inside there is so much going on, or not. It might be that there isn't, but I think that there can be so much internal processing that goes on that's not really ever shared in a way that feels possible to move things forward.
So the inner worlds of these two withdrawn people might be very different, but there's nobody really saying anything. Nobody would know, coming up with a fight for this relationship, but probably to some level both very aware of it.
Yeah. And so as we said, it can kind of be that the experiences of life and whatever, but also perhaps coming from that previous attack withdrawal cycle. And I think sometimes if it's come from that place, that's when maybe people, the other person, the sort of in the attack and withdrawal, the withdrawer potentially then contacts us.
Yeah.
I've had that where
they start to feel the panic of, oh my God, what's happened?
Because
they're
experiencing the fight has stopped from their partner. Yeah.
I was just wondering that, we're talking about this and the different styles of conflict, and I was thinking, some people might be quite happy functioning in that withdraw place. That might be enough for them.
Yeah.
Which is fine, isn't it? We're not saying that it has to be a problem.
No.
If it's not a problem
really
for you,
good point.
It's fine. If that's how your relationship functions well, then that's
it's kind of a rubbing along well together and not necessarily needing to connect in a different way. Yeah.
Both might be happy with that same level of connection.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe not so with the other two, because there's obviously a fight, so there's something not quite right. So we've got three main styles of conflict. We've got the blame or attack, which we talked about first. And we've got the attack withdraw.
Yeah.
And then we have the withdraw, more silent conflict style. So it would be really great, wouldn't it, if people listening to this could start to recognise what tends to happen in their relationship.
Yeah.
And even right now, right, if you're feeling like we're in this right now, being able to see, okay, this is me, this is us.
Yeah. Because as we were saying, when we're in it, it's really difficult to. So perhaps listening to this outside of that, even if it is or isn't happening, if it resonates in some way, by identifying what you do, you can then do something different. This is the possibility, isn't it, to have different kind of ways to create a more positive cycle, to create a more positive interaction.
Yeah. And that's the first thing we would do with a couple, if we were working with them for therapy, would be to identify what type of style of conflict is happening. What's this cycle? How does it look? And what's really going on underneath that?
Yeah, which would be kind of the question. It's not necessarily about, I think we've said this last week, didn't we? It's not necessarily about the dishwasher, but it's how the conversation goes when you talk about the dishwasher and how it's loaded. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, listen to last week's episode.
We've talked about the dishwasher quite a lot. Every time I empty the dishwasher now, I'm thinking about our podcast. Seriously, I was emptying it this morning thinking, oh, okay, someone stacked the knives properly this week. That's good.
That's so funny. So I identify, like you're saying, identifying what kind of style, what kind of pattern of kind of conflict that you tend to have, and what your kind of side of that is more commonly, is helpful to know. Yeah.
And that is what we would first do with you if we were working with you as a couple, would be identifying that. So we've saved you a lot of money here.
Indeed. And we'll also put in the show notes the link for Hold Me Tight, the book I mentioned at the beginning, because that's got certain exercises in it as well, and talk about this all in much more detail.
3 top takeaway tips.
So, number 1, when you notice a disconnection between you, what do you tend to do? So just notice with the things that we've talked about, do you explain? Do you criticise? Do you yell? Do you leave? Do you sigh, roll your eyes? Do you tell your partner to calm down, chill out? I'm already feeling slightly activated with that one. So just notice when there is a disconnection, what do you tend to do?
Takeaway tip 2. What impact do you think that has on your partner's side of the conflict? How do they tend to respond to what you do? And how does that then fuel this cycle between you? The more you do this, and then the more I do this. So it's really recognising each of your tendencies here.
And tip 3, when you're not caught in conflict, that's the important part of this. When you're not caught in conflict, see if you and your partner can discuss what you think might be happening between you so that you have a mutual understanding. So see if that's possible. But it's really important to do it outside of the conflict, because you're not going to get anywhere. I don't expect, if you do it when you're in conflict. So before we forget, Ali, because we're terrible at this one.
I nearly forgot again.
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Right, so first one, predictability or excitement?
Predictability. Yeah, predictability. I mean, I've watched Strictly. I like everything to be predictable with it. I like nice endings, happy endings.
You like the start, the middle and the end.
Yeah, I like to know, and I don't want to do anything that's going to be really unpredictable at the end or difficult to deal with. I think it's because I like predictability.
So if you had to have no excitement in your life and it was just predictability? That's tricky, isn't it?
It's a
when
really
you look
tricky
at it like
one.
That. Would you rather?
Yeah. Well, predictability for me feels safer. So I think I'd probably go for that still. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, I don't know. This is actually quite difficult. I think I'd probably go with predictability as well.
Okay.
I'd like to say excitement, but I don't know if I'd be able to cope with the chaos.
Yeah. Have too much of a good thing. Am I reading it?
Yeah.
I have to say that these we're passing these. These are really soggy because Ali's drink leaked on these. So they got really soggy. So instant gratification or delayed gratification?
Delayed all the way.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, when I was reading it out, because I didn't know what they were going to be.
No question.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Me too. I love
do the work
I love
and get
it.
the reward.
I actually love delayed gratification. Yeah. I love it because you know you're going to get something in the end. It's, for instance, I know you really like, you're running and exercise and everything, whereas I really don't like exercise and I have to do it because I want to stay fit. It's important that I keep myself well. I love walking the dog, I have to say that. But if I'm doing weights and whatever, and I honestly, it's like pulling teeth, starting it off. And I have to remember what I'm going to feel at the end.
Or achy.
Well, yes, but that's a nice ache because you feel like you've
nice
done
ache,
something.
Yeah.
So there is a real delayed gratification. So I live for that with exercise.
Yeah. We'd love to know if anyone out there is the opposite to us and just wants the instant, because obviously it's interesting about other people's experiences.
Indeed.
Singing or dancing?
Singing. Yeah.
Well, you can never dance, but you can only sing.
Singing. Yeah, because you can sing everywhere. I mean, you could dance in the shower, I suppose, but it might be a bit risky. But you can sing anywhere, can't you?
Oh, you've sold me. I'm going for singing as well. Yeah, I'll go for singing.
And also for dancing, I think I'm quite self-conscious, and so I don't feel necessarily as free. I think if I was dancing where nobody was watching, it would be fine. But still, I'd go for singing. And I harmonise with the toothbrush virtually, so I'm, singing is in the mix.
Sorry.
It's an electric toothbrush, by the way.
I get that.
Yeah.
Although I was dancing, we've got someone doing some carpentry at home, and me and my son were dancing to the sound of the saw moving.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So, but you still,
I'd still choose singing, I think.
You'd still choose singing. Yeah. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Please subscribe, like, follow. It's really important and for us to be able to get these messages out to people. So please do that. That would be great. And join us next time on our next episode, whatever that's going to be, whichever order.
See you then.
Thanks.